The TikTok Scientology read is a disaster. What is this?
TikTokers are now storming Scientology churches because I guess you can't stop them all. I mean, history doesn't really repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. Pre-pandemic, they were storming Area 51. I even went there to cover it. And now, I guess, instead of going way out in the Nevada desert to find aliens, TikTokers just realized they can storm the Scientology church in LA to maybe find Tom Cruise.
We've never seen you behave this way before. I know. Have you ever felt this way before?
Bro.
So this obviously started as a quite entertaining and potentially dangerous trend. Because if you know,
yeah, honestly, I wouldn't put it past them to like kidnap you and then sacrifice you to Xenu, bro.
Anything about Scientology, you know, they have a bit of a reputation for their unique beliefs and the lengths they'll go to protect them.
Scientology engages in renditions and kidnappings. Journalists and advocates for victims face harassment and...
I just told you, man, they kidnapped them and sacrificed them to Xenu. And Leah Remini, I watched this entire documentary.
And surveillance simply for doing their jobs.
And you might not even know too much about the Church of Scientology besides the fact that Tom Cruise has always been their like
freaky,
celebrity
man.
spokesperson. It costs a ton of money to join them. And they've kind of been like the butt of the joke for South Park and Family Guy for years at this point. Or maybe you've heard some of the theories online that it was created in the 50s by some sci-fi writer as a cash grab and a way to dodged.
I think Leah Remini quoted that if you get up to the level 8 or level 7, the amount of money you spent is up to like, I think she said like $80,000. If someone could look it up for me, I know there was an obscene amount of money, and that was just for like level 7 by itself. You have to like spend money, and then they take you to a room with like a specialist who's like in that rank. And then they literally put you in the room with a book and they're like, okay, you're allowed to read this now. And then the next level unlocks.
Taxes.
Yeah, it's actually
with many
like
people
pay to
claiming
win.
it's not even a real religion.
I've been Scientologist for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Without it, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful religion, and I'm very proud.
I don't know. We're not here to talk about that. Today we're talking about the countless amounts of TikTokers who are just storming the Church of Scientology.
Dude, this looks like Temple Run. You know what I'm talking about? I had a friend that had the iPod with Temple Run and Fruit Ninja.
I feel like one of the reasons this is happening is because the general public usually never gets more than a glimpse behind the curtain, and that's by design. I mean, you have a bunch of people saying the wife of the current leader of Scientology has been missing for almost 20 years. What? And the church doesn't seem too worried about providing anyone with her whereabouts. But hey, again, who knows?
The only people that are concerned are within the Scientology probably, and then the public is like not related to them basically, so it's easier to cover shit up. Yep.
What's going on? We're talking about the storming. Regardless, they're
Sacrifice
not exactly
to
an
Xenu,
open
that's
book when
right.
it comes to what goes on inside that church. So now you have a bunch of TikTok teenagers bursting in and filming as much of the inner workings of the church as possible.
They're mapping it out.
That's been quite fascinating to see unfold online. Because that's exactly what started happening on TikTok, and this trend is showing absolute no signs of stopping. And before we get into this, for legal purposes, I do not condone this behavior. Please do not storm the Scientology offices. Well, now that we have that out of the way, according to
you
news
might get
sources,
shot.
the first video that blew up was posted on March 31st by a user named Swiley. But apparently it originated from a video posted on March 24th from a user by the name of It's Derpy on TikTok, where he just ran through the front of the building and out the side door.
Xenu! Xenu!
Xenu! Xenu! Where is he?
Xenu!
Woo! Yo.
You can't touch me. You can't touch me.
Get out.
She ripped my shirt. She ripped my shirt.
And it was when It's
She
Derpy
whipped my
reached out to
shirt.
Swiley to do a
Look at
collab
Xenu.
run wearing meta glasses where the trend really started to explode.
I'm Wallahi, I'm going in.
Damn! He's swift. He sacrificed him. Bro, they're not even trying.
Where's Xenu?
Where's Xenu?
Xenu's not here. Damn, you got a nice haircut.
And from there on out, This became a trend and started
That's
taking a life
crazy.
of its own. So then you had a whole group of teens post that they got way further than the first two. And
Unfortunately, as funny as this is, someone's might get shot.
the trend just kept snowballing.
A new group
Yeah.
has surpassed the last in not only getting into this building, but running through it and making it out on the other side. Wasn't just captured by the locals outside the building who were in shock that
Hold on, I've got the perfect thing for this. Where is it? I got the perfect thing.
I'm gonna lock you. I'm gonna lock you. I'm gonna lock you. I'm going in here.
And from there on out, this became
It's so good.
a trend and started taking a life
Fine
of
and
its own.
Zimu,
So then you had a
bro.
whole group of teens post that they got way further than the first two. And the trend just kept snowballing.
a new group has surpassed the last in not only getting into this
Wow.
building, but running through it and making it out on the other side. Wasn't just captured
That
by
is
the
crazy.
locals outside the building who were in shock that this group was not only able to successfully get through, but were also able to get out of this building.
I mean, this is just
They're
so
mapping this shit
laughably
out, man.
stupid. I can't believe this is a trend in 2026, but it does kind of say a lot about where the current internet culture is. But it does look like they do shove one worker to the ground and get past him, but it's also hard to tell from the angle. But if that's true, in theory, they could be held
Yeah, they could
responsible
sue
for
them.
assault.
You can't stop them. There's only one guy. Karen. She's the Karen. Go.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Haven't paid the 500 grand to have access to this building.
Unironically, though. Hold on. I'm so curious. How much money do you have to spend at level 8 Scientology to reach operating thetan level of OT8, the highest widely available tier in Scientology? You can expect to spend up to $300,000 to $400,000. That's not for like the level itself, but like up to that level, I'm pretty sure.
There's a reason why this
Yeah.
channel highlights the internet's most ridiculous
That's your
moments.
life,
Just like
man.
there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's
Morgan
largest injury
Morgan's
law firm.
everywhere,
because
man.
when you're seriously hurt, your injury
not a
could be
scam.
worth
No, I need to
millions
know
of
where
dollars.
Zeno is.
And if you're injured by someone else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. And Morgan & Morgan does not settle for lowball offers. With over $30 billion recovered for clients, Morgan & Morgan knows a thing or two about fighting for the compensation you deserve. And with over 1,000 lawyers and hundreds of offices nationwide, it's kind of like having an entire army on your side. Not all law firms are the same, because if you hire the wrong one, you may lose before you even get started. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/Tozy. And if you end up working with them, their fee is completely free unless you win. And you can find the link at the top of the description down below to see if you actually have a claim. But without further ado, let's continue the video. Unfortunately, though, a lot of these kids seem to be under 18, so it's not like
Yeah, they're not
really
gonna
going to
get
get too much
prosecuted.
punishment from this, I don't think. Who knows? But apparently the trend has gotten to the point where Hollywood church staff has now been turned into NPCs of sorts, and they're not even
Oh my
real people for the
God.
viewers. They get excited to see certain returning characters in the videos,
Yeah, like the
and they're trying to
Karen.
block the intruders with their bodies while they scream into their walkie-talkies.
And they even met up with Shannon.
Shannon. She's got a name now?
She apparently like rents the place or something. She's essentially famous on TikTok now as the angry Scientology lady.
The whole
They must be doing it in a state where they can't get hurt.
situation just looks so cartoonish. It feels like we're
It
combining
is.
gameplay from like Subway Surfers and
Temple
Sly
Run.
Cooper somehow. I don't even know if that makes sense. But of course, the internet took this and ran with it, because users on TikTok have now started to try to, I guess, map out the buildings based
Yeah,
on, I
I
guess, the
figured.
mounting footage.
That's
As
smart.
Every group
You gotta
goes
know where you
in,
go.
they explore new areas of the building.
It's like a Diablo, or yeah, like a Diablo or any other top down, right? It's the same fucking shit. Like, it has these hidden areas, and then it's like it's not mapped out properly. You gotta keep going in.
So then people start mapping out more and more of the building. And I guess people are ranking the speed runs based on how far into the building they can
mapping,
get in. So this really just is taking urban exploration to a whole new level.
People are also now drawing out
Oh
maps
my
of what we know
God!
the Scientology building looks like so far. I'm excited to see where things keep on going.
So that I have
That's
people
insane.
hand drawing out maps daily as more and more footage comes out, making this increasingly dangerous because, you know, people want to be more and more ballsy with this and get further into the building. I don't know. Maybe they think they're going to find Tom Cruise in the basement or something like that.
No, they're going to find
Who
Xenu.
knows? But people were calling it speedrunning the church and making memes about, you know, Tom Cruise being the final boss you face when you actually reach the end. Then you have other people pushing for a reskin of the Subway Surfers game to make it all Scientology
I know this account.
themed. All in all,
I
the
know that
general public
account.
really found this pretty funny more than anything, and a lot of people claim that the Scientologists deserve this, with very few people considering this even illegal, which, I mean, it is.
The coolest people of the Gen Z generation are those kids that keep running through the Scientology building. That shit is so funny and just so punk rock. I just cannot get enough.
It's even begun to spread to
Fucking millennials labeling it punk rock. Stop. It's just fucking kids being fucking retarded. Again, they're idiots. Yeah, it's either gonna escalate or someone's gonna get shot.
there's Scientology churches in other cities and states and possibly other countries.
They're not hurting anyone. Yeah, but look, I don't agree with Scientology at all. It's just that I'm pretty sure it's labeled as like a church, unironically, by the government. Yeah, you're like still trespassing, and in some instances, like they could just incarcerate you or have the police waiting there to like get you arrested.
Considering, you know, there's
It's
a church
funny, but it's
Scientology
fucked
in nearly
up.
every
I don't
major
know.
city, according to their own website, and people online want to get involved in that trend, I guess. So,
The problem with social media is that people are gonna start doing this to like, I don't know, different places of business too that might be private.
It's a worldwide thing. It's one
They
thing
gotta outdo
to be
each
stupid
other.
enough to climb the outside of the building and risk your own safety, but also to risk the safety of others and to trespass into a private building where you could potentially get hurt, lost, or arrested is something completely different. In one video, the staff immediately shut the doors behind a kid who runs in and leaves his friend standing and filming outside while he realizes he has no way to help.
Oh my god. Oh, we just went like the basement.
Oh shit,
Luckily,
man!
the kid gets out of a side door,
Yeah,
but
he got
still,
abducted.
this could get a
It's
little
over.
sketchy. Another video shows a group of kids quietly wandering around the lobby of their local Scientology church, possibly, I guess, staking out in hopes of going further the next time for another video. And considering these buildings are usually mostly empty and pretty understaffed, they're definitely not prepared for a whole bunch of teenagers blitzkrieging them. But for the most part, it seems to be fairly harmless because I haven't seen a video where they actually damage anything.
No,
You have
but
that
again,
one
it will
clip where
escalate.
one kid pushed a staff member. That's really the worst.
Again, planking in itself was like an inherently harmless trend, but then people started doing it on train tracks and shit, and that's when it got bad. Again, there's nothing wrong with it really inherently, like they're not hurting anyone, but it's just gonna get worse.
I've seen so far. But again,
Yeah.
I mean, this is trespassing, but since Scientologists seem generally uninterested in being more public than necessary, it feels unlikely that something real
Planking
will
is
even
like a
happen in a
2010s
legal sense
thing.
at least, even though police were called to the Hollywood building after a reported 50 kids stormed into the building, but had fled before the police arrived. 50 kids ran in there? Are you serious? But again, since I guess they're just private, no police report was taken, and the investigation stopped there. So it seems like unless you are directly caught on the scene, the police might not be your main concern. But that doesn't mean the church doesn't have its own way of handling things. In fact, they do have something they call fair game, which according to Wikipedia is a term they use to describe policies and practices carried out by the Church of Scientology towards people and groups it perceives as its enemies. And I mean, that's worrying. And I guess a threat to the church could very well apply to someone who was trespassing, filming, and mapping out the inner workings of their private buildings. I guess You have actress and former Scientologist turned advocate against the church, Leah Remini. She's even weighed in on the trend and advised against it for a number of reasons, even beyond the obvious danger.
There was a time that I truly appreciated what I was seeing on platforms like TikTok, people who were never in Scientology.
She's a nice lady.
In a way that can reach others, especially younger people, and help prevent them from being involved. That kind of awareness was very important and it had a purpose. But this is not that. What I'm seeing now, running into Scientology buildings, harassing staff, provoking reactions for TikTok is not really exposure. It feels like it's about clicks. And
also the other thing is that they're going to double down on security and probably make more consequences and punishments and security gates for future people leaving the... Like, they already have extreme measures to keep people from fucking leaving. It'll get worse because of this. So it'll be harder for people to, like, I guess, get out, if that makes sense.
Turning something serious,
because their security measures are going to get bumped up.
It completely loses the point.
So this is an interesting take. So apparently these kids are giving the Scientologists exactly what they wanted: victimhood.
This trend creates chaos. It creates a spectacle. And worst of all, it hands Scientology exactly what they want: the ability to position themselves as the victim.
And Leah grew up in the church, but ultimately left in 2013. And she had a TV show in 2016 called Scientology and the Aftermath, where she outlined some of the churches.
And the other thing that's really fucked up, I remember watching, not that, I think this was before this show, back in like, I want to say like 2014, I watched this whole thing about her leaving. Her mom abandoned her. All of the money that she made off of these shows back when she was like really, really hot, and she was like in her like late 20s, maybe like early 30s, when she was like part of Scientology, they mentally abused her. They all guilted her into like marrying a dude that was in Scientology, and she had kids, and then I can't remember exactly. Maybe I'm misremembering other stories, but I'm pretty sure she still has a kid in Scientology, and she literally had to leave them behind. Or maybe it was her mom. But anyway, it was like super mentally scarring for her. It was horrible.
Sketchy practices, and her opinion, corruption. And she's been one of the main faces leading the charge against the church. And she says that these kids running through the church is stupid because, well, it's an idiotic idea, but also very dangerous.
And understand this too. This is for your own safety. You know, they're going to go after you. They're going to involve law enforcement. They're going to have you arrested if they can, for one purpose: to silence your voice and your platform. So this actually benefits them.
And while that's true, unfortunately, after covering everything I've covered here on the internet, that warning isn't going to stop them. But yeah, obviously, you risk getting arrested, and like I mentioned, the church will want to get justice somehow, apparently. But the big thing here is Leah says this is the stuff this church actually likes, because then they get to act like they are a legitimate religion being persecuted.
They want to be able to say that they're being harassed. They want to reinforce this false narrative that they're a legitimate religion being persecuted, and you're playing into that narrative. The people inside the Scientology, they're trained to react in a certain way to make themselves appear as though they're being harassed and victimized. So, but may feel like exposing something is really, in reality, distracting from the real dangers of Scientology. And that's what they want.
Now, again, we aren't here to discuss that. We're just here to talk about the...
You're basically like putting the wrong like target on their back. You have to let more people out of it so you get more actual insider information, as opposed to you just running through the place. It doesn't really accomplish much.
Speed runs, but apparently this only gives them more reason to feel like they're victims and being targeted by normal people, which is exactly how they want their followers to, I guess, feel. Isolated and targeted. Like, imagine this is someone's first impression and they feel bad for the staff and decide to look into Scientology and how they can help, but instead they end up just in the pipeline joining the religion. Obviously, I feel like that's kind of a reach, but still, anything is possible in 2026. But now you even have kids dressing up as Jesus and doing speedruns inside of the Scientology church. And then you have whatever this is. I mean, what is even going on at the Scientology HQ at this point?
I mean, it's LA. Yeah, the HQ is in LA, isn't it?
Apparently, they also removed all door handles because so many people were speedrunning their churches. One would think that could be a safety hazard, but what do I know? As of right now, though, nobody's been held accountable, despite the names and the faces of all these people being very public. It'll definitely be interesting to see if the church does decide to press charges, or if people just decide to do more and more speedruns. Either way, it doesn't seem like this trend is slowing down, so we might as well make a follow-up video in the future. So if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace. Peace. All right. That was a fucking sick, nasty video. Like I said, if you really want to get to, like, know about Scientology and how fucked they are, watch the Leah Remini, like, recount. What they did to her was so fucked up. Like, actually. I learned a lot about it. The first time I ever learned about Scientology was the South Park shit. Yeah. I was like, there's no way people actually unironically believe this. This can't be real, man. Absolutely insane. Yeah, Xenu, like, dropped a bunch of people into volcanoes, and now their souls are inhabiting people, and that's why you get angry and shit. It's like, okay. Yo, Grisha, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. What's up? Somebody saw made a genuine video with breaking down the speedrunning routes. My life would be made. I think they'll stop that pretty quickly. They're already putting a lot of measures against it, unfortunately. Now, okay, we're gonna run ads. I do appreciate it. He dropped the people around volcanoes and the hydrogen bombs in the volcanoes. Oh yeah, and then he exploded everything. That's right. Yeah, that story is crazy. Oh no. What if they do find Tom Cruise? Well, then they're in for an Elden Ring boss fight. Yeah, little Dark Souls.